We have so what is the role of entrepreneurship in the economic development? So we have studied how does the economy of a country totally depends upon the entrepreneurship. That is how it really helps in developing the economy. So I stressed on these points last class. Entrepreneurship by promoting the export, so economy of the country, so which is an important factor in terms of economy. So it is not that the product has to be uh, marketed within a nation or within the country. It has to be exported to the country based on certain terms and conditions that you need to follow. And also, how does it utilizes the in terms of economy? It encourages effective resource mobilization of a capital and skill. So when I say capital and skill, specifically skill is, so the last class I told you one example. There are many engineers that come out every year, right? Probably if we didn't had any software industry in our country, maybe the cons the maybe the unemployment rate would be very more compared to the current scenario. And we have many BPOs, right? Many technical call centers and all. So to a maximum 90% of the engineers have one of the opportunity where we can eradicate the unemployment, right? So in that way, it is one of the best utilization of the capital and skill. So for the role of entrepreneurship in the economic development, you people have to write this. So coming to the concept of what are the barriers. So role of the entrepreneurship in the economic development. So all these points have to be covered. So next, and also, so what are the barriers to the entrepreneurship? There are many barriers to the entrepreneurship. So lack of viable concept, lack of market knowledge. If you don't have a knowledge of a market, what is being happening, so that is also one of the barriers to the entrepreneurship. And lack of technical skills. For example, if you don't have good technical skills of a particular domain, maybe that is also one of the great barrier to your entrepreneurship. Maybe you have a good project that is totally based on the domain of retail, or maybe it is a domain of a share market or a finance or a insurance, or it might be a banking sector. If you don't have skills that is being really required for a particular domain, maybe you find it difficult. So in overall, I would say lack of technical skills, lack of seed capital is also one of the barrier. So lack of motivation, this comes into the leadership. So if you don't have a motivation factor, that is also one of the barrier to the entrepreneurship. Social stigma, right? Definitely social stigma is one of the major factor. A simple example, when you are going to open a big production factory, there might be several sorts of wastages that comes out of the uh, factory. For example, I'm talking about a simple factory wherein you have output you have a product as output. In turn, we have several wastage that comes out of the product. So that wastage has to be dumped into the environment. That time, we have the various organization coming out saying against that dumping of that particular wastage. So social stigma is also one of the barriers to the entrepreneurship. So legal constraints and regulations. So few of the factors such as legal constraints and regulations are also one of the major factor that has to be satisfied, right? So for everything there are certain rules and regulations. For example, if you want to construct a building also, you should have a minimum permission, right? So that could be a barrier in the sense that might cause a delay in the growth, right? By the time you have an idea, if you don't have a the idea that is being executed, that becomes a barrier to you, right? So monopoly and protectionism is also one of the barriers. Inhibition due to patents. What is the meaning of inhibition due to patents? So you know what is the meaning of patent? Patent is one of the unique work that is being done by one of the person, right? So that is not being really revealed outside. And also it has not been, that idea has not been interpreted by some others also. That means that idea has not been come to any one of the mind, right? So that is called a patent. So keeping this patents in a secrecy, so that may also cause one of the barrier to the entrepreneurship. Inhibition due to patents, that is also one of the barrier to the entrepreneurship. So we need to go what is entrepreneurship in India. So what is entrepreneurship development program? So what is entrepreneurship in India? So this topic, entrepreneurship in India. So it is called EDP. So it focuses on identifying entrepreneurship in terms of training, preparing the entrepreneurs to manage finance, production, technology. See, this is a quite important point. So entrepreneurship development program is focused towards preparing the entrepreneurs to manage finance, production, technology, marketing, and infrastructure facilities. And also, what is entrepreneurship development program? It also provides knowledge to solve problems and difficulties of a entrepreneur. What is the basic need of entrepreneur development program schemes? To build the confidence in the people, give guidelines to the young people, gives technical assistance. It is help in the growth of small scale sections. So this is the historically the development of entrepreneurship in India. The important ones includes the decline of Indian handicrafts industry towards the end of 18th century and the entry of the East India Company of British in India, right? The Swadeshi campaign for Indian manufactured goods, the First World War, emergence of the Indian managing agency system promoting the joint stock agencies, and also the Second World War. These are the historically, how does the effect of entrepreneurship has affected our country in the economic development, or what could be the you know the events that had been followed, right? In order to encourage, our government of India has introduced first industrial policy solution in 1945, which was subsequently revised from time to time, right? In the 1948. So here the government of India, in order to promote, assist and develop industries in national interest, has taken the following important resolutions. Let us go with these three resolutions. The first resolution was to maintain a proper distribution of economic power between private and public sectors. To maintain a proper distribution of economic power between private and public sector, to encourage rapid industrialization by moving the concept of entrepreneurship from existing centers to the other cities, towns, and that is a movement from town to town, a city to city, to disseminate the entrepreneurship concentrated in a few dominated communities to a large number of industrial potential people of varied social background. So we are discussing about how does the entrepreneurship in India had been come up. Then prior to it, I have shown you the barriers. So this is the historically what had happened in 18th century. That is after independence, what had happened. Before independence, what was the factor? Before independence, what was the factor? And after independence, what was the factor? This was the concept we are going to study. In order to achieve this objective, the government accorded emphasis on the development of small scale industry in the country. So we have a 5-year plan from the government of India. So it announced various incentives and concession in the form of capital, technical know-how, the reservation of certain items, right? The facilities like developed land, sheds, roads, communicated. So in turn, it had helped a speedy economic development in all the states in the country. So there are many plans being organized by the government of India. The 3rd-year plan, then the 5-year plan. Okay. National Common Minimum Programming. This could be an important topic. What is NCMP? National Common Minimum Program. It describes a small scale enterprise as the most employment intensive segment. At the beginning of the 10th plan, that is in 2002 to 2003, the segment provided a gainful employment to the 24.59 million people in the rural and urban areas of the country through 10.5 million units engaged in the manufacturing provided. Industrialization was a major factor in the year 2002 to 2003. If the units in Khadi village industries are also taken into the account, the employment would rise to 332 millions. This is rigidly called as the segment which provides employment next only to agriculture. After agriculture, this was the major tremendous one of the improvement in the case of employment. The contribution of the small enterprise segment to the economic development of the country is very significant. Nearly, in this case, 39% of the gross manufacturing outputs and 34 of the exports of India arise from these enterprise. So this is one of the major, I would say, emerging ray of hope regarding the concept of entrepreneurship. So these are all the historically what had happened previously with respect to the entrepreneurship in India. So before I go to the identification of the opportunity, so try to understand this concept. So all of you can give the attendance under the chat session, those who have not given. So overall, what I would say is Government of India has taken lot many actions in order to support entrepreneurship and the concept of entrepreneurship to in turn which had helped really helped in developing the economic development of India. So this was the topic. So because many people don't have an idea what is the role of the government in focusing the entrepreneurship. Maybe you say that entrepreneurship helps in the economic development of a country, but internally as a country, how does this entrepreneurship as a country, or as a government of India, how it has really helped us in promoting these concepts? So this has been seen here historically, starting from the ancient India, that is from the 18th century, and what had happened in 1947, right? In the year 2002, what had happened, right? So in the year 2002, 3. So this has to be written for an answer. If I ask you what is economic development, so what is entrepreneurship in the development of entrepreneurship? What is entrepreneurship in India? So historically, you have to write. So what had happened in 2002 and 2003? Small scale enterprise as the most employment intensive segment at begin, right? So that is called a 10th plan, right? In this, how many people got employed? This you have to tell. And also, there were nearly 39% of the gross manufacturing outputs and 34 of the exports of India arise from these enterprises. Because of this, so we had a greater export, right? So those who have not given the attendance in the chat session can give the attendance. So we have covered these topics, entrepreneurship and barriers also. So we left with only these topics: identification of business opportunity, what is market feasibility study, so technical feasibility study. So hardly 1 hour is enough to complete this. So by the time we will complete the module 3 by 19th. So maybe we'll have internal IA 19th of this month, not prior to it probably, right? So module 3 and module 2 and module 3 you will have for a second IA, and module 4 and 5 you will have for a third IA.